What's going on, Jerome's? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day out there to those who celebrate. It's time for another Vikings news dump. Birds are indeed chirping and stuff. Plus, we don't point out enough that you're probably watching this while taking a dump. That's why we call it the news dump. So everyone and their mom obviously pissed off, maybe a little bit sad, mad about Sunday Night Football. Vikings just really, it'd be one thing if it was a close game. Right? And, back and forth, classic game, came down to the last play, last second, one score, but just the offense was just, it's still so frustrating, right? But turn the page, just new day, new dawn, and it is what it is. But guess what? The larger the dragon, the greater the hero that slays it, and the Vikings now road warriors as the 5 seed taking on the Rams. I am ready to get hurt again because it just resets the clock. Still 4 more wins, and you hoist at your own party. Like, the degree of difficulty got ratcheted up a bit, and I know the odds. Well, 25% of 1 seeds make the Super Bowl, and only 5.5% of 5 seeds. Do not care. What does the past have to do with this team? All we need is un timeo. That's right, man. Also, in addition to the team, well, it's not the practice squad, but you know what I mean. Vikings have signed Daniel Jones to the 53-man rooster from the practice squad, and they waived Brett Rippon. And with Rippon, yeah, we were saving this because it was an obvious roster move to make once Daniel Jones and the Vikings got acclimated, as well as getting Jones onto the 53-man roster will allow the Vikings to get a comp pick if he signs somewhere else this offseason. Would not if he was still on the practice squad. But Brett Rippon, I pineapple my pizza. I've been over this. I don't care what you put on your pizza. Also, I think pineapple is pretty damn good. Like the whole salty sweet thing, it's pretty good. But you do have to. So if you get the pineapple out of a can, you do have to wring out the juice. You lack of the juice. No, because you got to be worried about introducing too many moist water elements into the pizza, because otherwise it can just turn into a soupy mess. That's why. So with the peppers, with the mushrooms, I actually like squeeze them in a paper towel. I'm supposed to say cheesecloth because we're all fancy here. No one uses a cheesecloth in real life. But just a paper towel and just squeeze out a little bit of moisture. Same thing with onions too. Otherwise, like if you have a supreme pizza with all those toppings and pineapple, and just all of a sudden it messes with the structural integrity of the crust, and you work hard for that crust, man. It's like sushi is not a fish dish; it's a rice dish. Pizza is not about the toppings; it's about the crust. But I digress. Anyways, but Daniel Jones is on the Vikings now. Obviously, the plan is Jones probably going to be the backup, but if you think about it, he's been in the building for 7 weeks now, so that's almost 2 months. Do the Vikings trust Jones, who clearly has more talent than Nick Mullins, as a quarterback too? I mean, it's possible. And I've heard allegedly that the Vikings have had some red zone struggles. What if I told you that the Vikings had a supreme athlete at quarterback that they could just put in and just like plow straight ahead? I don't know. We'll see. Right. But in order to do that, he would have to be quarterback 2, because he can't be the emergency quarterback 3 and then come in like Taysom Hill. Or, I don't know, could we list Daniel Jones as a tight end? Why the hell not? Right. And we got a little bit of heat over the last couple of days because, first off, we were the first to believe in Slinging Sammy Darnold, a.k.a. America's quarterback, when no one did. All right. Even though some revisionist historians think otherwise. No. We were fully in on Sam Darnold, and even before the Lions game, we were saying, okay, Darnold for the last 7 games, which he was playing top 5 football, right? But then he was so god awful against the Lions, and I know that Darnold has rebounded nicely from all of his down games, specifically Jacksonville as well as the Jets game, but that's how bad his performance against the Lions was. Like, Orlovsky broke it down to ESPN. He left 5 touchdowns on the board. Just ridiculous. Just absolutely redonkulous. And it'd be one thing if he fought the good fight, a couple touchdowns, close game, maybe a couple picks, whatever. But Darnold, honestly, I don't think that he could play as bad as he did if he tried to on purpose. Like, if the mob was after Darnold and they wanted him to throw this game, I don't think that he could have played worse, to be honest. But hopefully he's going to get things good to go. But long story longer, we have gotten poop, this week because we were hard on Darnold, and we're the purple positivity guy. But Darnold needed a little bit of boot the ass, and hopefully he can rebound for the playoffs. So we put up Sam Darnold threw away high all the credibility and goodwill he built up this season versus the Lions. Now, initially that reads as negative, but it's kind of true, right? And guess what? Other teams saw that too. It's like, hey Darnold, yes. Sam Darnold, his success this year, 14 wins, put the Vikings in position where Week 18 was that big of a matchup. But he was up here, then all of a sudden, yes, on the road, but against a very banged up defense that had given up an average of 30 points a game over the last 5 games, just like, you don't even get in the end zone. You go 0 for 4 in the red zone. You have 11 plays inside of the Lions' 10. You come away with 3 points. Ridiculous. Yeah, but fortunately, America's quarterback can get it all back with interest by stepping up and balling out in the playoffs. Because, hey, guess what? Run through the Rams, run through the division round, the NFC title game, and the Super Bowl. Guess what? All is forgiven. Completely redeem yourself. That's right. And Sam Darnold has played at a high level. Has played high-level clutch football against tough defenses and tough teams all season. He's capable. And that's what puts your mind at ease. Because, this isn't even a Kirk Cousins situation, right? Where, Kurt put up numbers ad nauseum, but in tough spots, in clutch spots. But we've seen Darnold pull the Vikings out of the fire when they needed to. Look at Seattle, look at Arizona, etc. Like Darnold in high-pressure spots will get it done. It's just so frustrating that he didn't get it done on Sunday night. Is what it is. Also is what it is Brian Flores potentially leaving for another head coaching job. Will Rag at Sports Illustrated. Vikings DC Brian Flores said he plans on taking all the head coaching interview requests he receives and looks forward to talking to people about my football journey. That can't happen until next week, so right now his full focus is on the Rams. He also added this, it's been fantastic here in Minnesota, so it would have to be the right situation for me to leave. And I don't know. I think it's a toss-up right now. He's not going to take a job just to take a job. And the 2 formal requests right now are the Bears and the Jets. And we've said this a bunch. Flores knows now that it all comes down to the owner. Like, you can't have a functional franchise. You're not going to have success unless you have a decent owner. He didn't in Miami with Stephen Ross, the Jets of Woody Johnson, and the McCaskies with the Bears. No. But, it is tempting because Chicago, you do have some decent defensive pieces. The Jets, you obviously do as well. Chicago, you have Caleb Williams on his rookie deal. So maybe, I don't know. I would prefer, if he did take a job, it'd not be the Bears, because then we'd have to face them twice a year, which would be no bueno. But the Jets, I guess, could be interesting, depending what they do at GM. Flores, born and raised in Brooklyn. Patriots job, I thought would make sense, but of course that looks like Vrabel's job to lose at this point. And the Giants made even more sense, except they decided to roll Brian Daboll and Joe Shane again, which I don't get. Don't understand at all. But we'll see what happens, and I'm sure that he and McCown will get some more attention, but again, would absolutely love and adore to have Flores back, and I think so would the players. Next. So we talked about how the Vikings need to amp up the running game. And Kevin O'Connell, yeah, he's the quarterback. Yeah, he's a gunslinger. Yeah, he and Darnold sometimes get groupthink going on where it's just like, let's just throw. All right, but getting one-dimensional, probably shouldn't do that, and especially in the red zone. But also the Vikings haven't had a lot of success running the ball in the paint area. Gessling, Strib. According to Sports Info Solutions, SIS, Vikings running backs have been hit at the line on 72.2% of the runs inside the opponent's 10-yard line, which is not good. It's no good. That's the highest rate in the league. He continued, 50% of the Vikings runs inside the 10 have gone for 0 or fewer yards. That's the second highest rate in the NFL, behind the Dolphins, whose run game this season was god-awful. After being one of the best last year, it's almost like they lost most of their offensive line, as well as Mostert ain't the same. It's been frustrating with HN, but good thing he's a hell of a receiver, especially in PPR leagues. Yeah, but we talked about how it's been frustrating the Vikings can't establish the line of scrimmage. They can't impose their will running it inside the 10, but this backs it up. And that could be one of the reasons why the Vikings have been so pass-happy down there, and that's why they had poor success. That's why they're 19th in the league in red zone offense. Right? So something's got to give. right? And also, yes, the narratives are going to be there. Kevin O'Connell, former OC with the Rams, Sean McVay, a.k.a. Ed Sheeran, and, of course, O'Connell winning a Super Bowl with the Rams. By the way, Sean McVay has won 0 Goose Egg D'Angelo Russell Super Bowls without Kevin O'Connell. Not saying, I'm just saying. All right. Of course, the Stafford connection will be there, but there's been some parallels too. So I think it was Alec Lewis, the Athletic, pointed out that the Rams also ended their season with a turd in the punch bowl, right? So McVay and Shanahan, from the same coaching tree, and it's kind of funny how McVay just gets the best of Shanahan. But in 2021, the 11-5 Rams at home against the Niners. And if you remember, like, that looked like a home game for San Francisco, as it generally does with those LA games. But they lost a heartbreaker in overtime, and they ended up having to settle for being in wild card weekend. But they got it done against Arizona, and then against Tampa Bay, and then at home against San Francisco. They were able to close things out in the NFC title game. Again, that stadium was a lot of red. So it's what happens, man. So even though things didn't go exactly as planned, and then the Rams had to play the wild card round, they were still able to get things done when they needed to, and they're able to rebound from disappointment. Because remember, the Rams had a 3-game losing streak in the middle of their season, straddling the bye week. So they had a month of football in November where just like, I don't know if they're going to get things done, blah, blah, blah. Then they picked up Odell Beckham Jr. in that process. McVay and O'Connell had a damn good offense rolling along with Stafford and Cooper Kupp, who was in his prime. Plus, barely remember the Vikings losing to the Rams at home the day after Christmas, Boxing Day, 30-23. Actually, no, I do remember that because didn't like Cooper Kupp, who was the slot corner? Doesn't matter. No. But yeah, it was just one of those games that you just black out your memory. Towards the end of the Zimmer regime in 2021, which is kind of funny. And then, of course, they win 23-20 against the Bengals, which, I don't know, if Burrow had an extra fraction of time just hitting Jamar Chase on what would have been the game-winning walk-off touchdown, would have been great. But, of course, this Rams team is a lot different than 2021. You don't have Aaron Donald, an all-time great, maybe the greatest defensive lineman of all time, just wrecking things in the interior. But also, I mean, this Rams crew now is no slouch. Puka Nacua is there. Verse and Fisk and Kobe Turner are legitimate as well. As long, hey, Verse, how's that face mask? Good times. All right, so it's going to be a hell of a battle. And, of course, all the narratives are going to be about McVay and O'Connell and blah, 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 blah. But it just goes to show, too, hey, you could end your season with a turd. Well, at least that game was competitive, but it wasn't just a full-on turd in the punch bowl. But the Rams in 2021, where O'Connell was the OC, made his bones, I mean, they were able to cowboy up after a 3-game losing streak. They were able to make a run in the playoffs after a disappointment in week 18, and we're able to just rally up a week later and get things done. All right, so hopefully the 2024 Vikings can take a little something off of that. 2025 Vikings. So I do think that the Vikings should go after a running back in the 2025 draft, where Ashton Jeanty, I don't think will be in range of the Vikings, despite his game against Penn State. I think that he'll be the first running back taken. I think he'll be mid, maybe even early first round. But Marion Hampton from UNC, go Tar Heels, like Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting running backs in this class. It's going to be a deep running back class. Plus, I feel like the pendulum has swung where it was like, hey, running backs are your most important player. Pay them. Adrian Peterson get a $100 million deal. To running backs are a dime a dozen. Don't pay them. Don't draft them. But now I think we're settling back in because remember, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquon getting sizable free agent deals and doing some good things this year. You look at first round picks, Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs looking damn good with their respective teams as well. So I think running backs are back. We're so back, baby. But Jordan Reed, our guy over at ESPN, Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty is declaring for the 2025 NFL Draft. He announced the top rusher in the draft finished with 2,601 rushing yards and 29 touchdowns this season, and he should have won the Heisman. Like I have a lot of respect for Travis Hunter, who is a very good corner as well as a very good receiver, but that doesn't add up to what Jeanty did. And I understand that it's Boise State, it's Mountain West, etc., but also he's playing at Boise State, right? And yeah, the talent gap was exposed Boise State, Penn State, definitely in the lines, but it doesn't reflect on Jeanty because guess what? Jeanty's going to be playing with offensive talent akin to his opposition in the NFL. Well, hopefully the Vikings get their offensive line ish together. Yeah, but Ave Maria, looking good. I kind of like it. He can finally fulfill the prophecy of the really, really good number 2 Boise State running back who wears number 2 for the Vikings. Just a little bit better than Alexander Madison. Who knows, man? Yeah. Next. Yeah, so Good Morning Football, Pete Schrager. Generally is an ally of the Vikings, but not so much. It says that the Packers, he's got the most faith in amongst the wildcard teams over the Vikings and the Commies. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. The Packers team that is incomplete, that is sort of whatever. The Packers team lost to the Vikings twice. Yeah. I have more faith in the Commies than the Packers because I think Jaden Daniels, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And he is older for a rookie, so I think that he has more maturity than your typical rookie quarterback. So I think that they could actually do some damage, wreck some things. And that's our hope, man, because Vikings win, Commies win division round over the Lions. The Vikings beat the Eagles in all likelihood. And then guess what? Vikings host an NFC title game against the Commies. Let's go. Lastly, so yes, against the Rams, Monday Night Football, everyone's crying in the breast milk, and one is like, "Ooh, why even play the playoffs? They're just gonna lose. I'm ready to be disappointed." Whatever. But the Vikings, Vegas knows Vikings are favored on the road, -1.5 out in La La Land. It's okay. Hey, the Rams beat the Vikings by 10 allegedly last time, thanks to that safety and missed face mask. But Vikings got to a fast start last time. I think they'll do that again. Plus, they are pissed off. They got to be full on pissed off. And yes, the Rams are healthier than last time, but so are the Vikings. So bring that ish on. And maybe there will be a couple jelly beans there for entertainment purposes only. That's right, man. But that's it. Vikings news dump for this beautiful, wondrous, glorious Wednesday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value.